Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Ayşe Süberkaş. U.S. Congressman Pete Sessions landed at the newly inaugurated Ercan Airport last week to become the first U.S. politician to come directly to the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. The visit came at a time when TRNC is pushing to gain more international recognition. Sessions met with TRNC President Ersin Tatar and voiced his support for a two-state solution. The status of Cyprus is a major issue between Turkiye and Greece, although the two NATO allies saw a thaw in ties recently after years of tension. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan inaugurated the new terminal building and runway of Ercan Airport on July 20th. The opening ceremony coincided with the 49th anniversary of the Turkish Peace Operation on the island in 1974. The Eastern Mediterranean island has been mired in a decades-long dispute between Greek and Turkish Cypriots. A Greek Cypriot coup in 1974 aimed at annexing the island led to Ankara's military intervention. Turkey's role in the conflict resulted in the founding of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus in 1983. So could Sessions' visit hint at future peace talks on the ethnically divided islands? President of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, Ersin Tatar, now joins me from Lefkoşa to talk about the latest developments and further prospects for the reunification of the island. Mr. President, welcome to Straight Talk, and thanks for joining me on the program. So you have recently received U.S. Congressman Pete Sessions. He has become the first American politician to land at the Ercan Airport in the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. What's the significance of this visit?
Well, unfortunately, the world states, despite the fact that we are a state, a true state, founded in 1983, but when you go back years ago, during the British times, after the Ottoman Empire, it was a mixed country, unified country, but when the British pulled out, they pulled out on the condition that the constitution was put in place, and the guarantor powers were Turkish Republic, Greece, and the United Kingdom. And the Republic of Cyprus was founded on the basis of two ethnic sovereign communities, the Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots. We were kicked out, therefore we had to establish our own state so that we continued our lives, so that we can continue to survive on the island. As obviously, we had to form a new state of affairs because we were kicked out of the Republic of Cyprus. We did, and the Turkish Republic of North Cyprus continues today. Therefore, for the senator to visit the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus and for his own eyes to see on the ground what is at stake and what the real situation in Cyprus is concerned, it was, I think, very, very valuable. And the senator was very impressed with our state, with our democracy, with our people, with our economic sectors, with our all sorts of institutions forming a state. He had the time to visit me, to visit the head of parliament, to visit our prime minister, and to visit various other institutions, and to see with his own eyes that there exists a true state in the north of the island, the Turkish Republic of North Cyprus. So yes, in that respect, it was very, very useful.
So, but the U.S. Embassy in Lefkoşa said Sessions visited the north in a non-official capacity, and the U.S. officials usually engage with Turkish Cypriot leaders, business leaders, and representatives of the NGOs. So does this and the fact that he landed at the Ercan Airport undermine the importance of his visit?
Well, obviously, he was brave, because I'm sure that he would have been criticized back home because of the Greek lobby and because of the fact that the United States of America does recognize the Republic of Cyprus, which is in fact a pure Greek republic. Mm-hmm. And although they have some contacts with us, officially they recognize the South government. Mm-hmm. That's why the senator must have gone through some harsh times, because he would have got some criticism, especially from the Greek lobby.
Yes, we heard that. However, yes, especially his visit to the north has sparked anger in the south. What do you make of this? What's your take on that? And why is the south so furious?
South is so furious because they are scared or afraid that if this continues to get more support from the others, they will all be visiting North Cyprus and the Turkish Republic of Cyprus. And if they are able to visit and be able to see with their own eyes the true facts on the island, that there are two regions, two different ethnic communities with different language, with different religion, with different historical experiences and different culture, then obviously whoever sees all this on the ground would say that this is why we have two states in Cyprus, and the new policy towards solving the Cyprus problem should be, after all these years and experiences, bitter experiences, should be based on two states.
Yes.
Therefore, I think Senator's visit in that respect was very useful because he was brave enough to make some announcements from here back home to the States, where he was, what he was doing, and the good aspects of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, because obviously he is a friend. He has been a friend with the Turkish people in the Republic of Turkey, and his first visit to the north of the island, he has got the opportunity to get to know us, to look around, and to reconsider his thoughts with regard to Cyprus. This is very important because, unfortunately, a lot of people in capacity of responsible position in the world, either they are leaders or people as foreign ministers and the others, have not been able to visit the north of the island, and therefore, from their own country, when they look at the Cyprus problem, they don't know what the problem is because they've never been there. They have never really got to the ground to see what it means to have two states living in a neighborly relationship on this island, which years ago, unfortunately, went through some bitter experiences where a lot of people were murdered, killed, and there was devastation on the island. And until 20th July 1974, when Turkish troops came in to intervene, to restore order, and to protect the Turkish Cypriots. Turkish Cypriots, obviously, we are a part of the Turkish race. Therefore, we were very merciful, and we were begging that the Turkish army came in to protect us, because otherwise, after the 15th of July coup d'etat that threw Makarios, the late president of the Greek Cypriots, and the junta and the EOKA terrorists came in power, the next stage, the next move would have been to get rid of all the Turkish Cypriots. We would have gone through another very major crime, and they would have got rid of us. Therefore, Turkey came in to protect us.
So,
and,
Mr. President,
I'm very happy that they did.
Mr. President, if we can get back to the new current political developments, because just last week, Russia announced it will begin providing consular services to its citizens in Lefkoşa, and you said this move is not tantamount to the recognition of the TRNC. But is this only aimed at fulfilling Russia's obligation towards its citizens residing in the country, and which number are around, if I'm not mistaken, 50,000? And how would that contribute to the Russian citizens' interest in the north?
Well, basically, there are a lot of Russians living in Cyprus. There have been, according to rumors, more than 60,000 Russians living down in the south of the island, because they are all Orthodox. As Orthodox, the churches had relationship, and a lot of movement of funds, allegedly, with the Cypriot banking system and their business connections. But after the Ukraine war and the Republic of Cyprus down in the south, acting in conformity with the Europeans and the Americans, and I think, in my opinion, very unwillingly imposing a lot of restrictions on the Russian movement with regard to finances and economy and bank accounts and the rest of it. Obviously, a lot of Russians fled out. Some, I suppose, choose to come to the north. They have. And obviously, a lot of Russians have been also visiting Turkey. And lately, some Russians visiting Turkey also came to the north. We obviously are very sensitive. We are not doing anything to get involved in anything untoward. We have laws and regulations. The central bank is very active. Our central bank is working together with the Turkish central bank. We don't want to get into trouble because we are managing these affairs with regard to the international standards, so that we don't want to get involved in black money on things associated with that. But if a tourist comes, if a Russian comes and he wants to rent a place and live here for some time, obviously, so long as they don't have a criminal record, Cyprus, the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, is obviously open to those people who choose to live here or to pay a visit here or to do business here. And in that respect, we have had some numbers increasing. And by the way, a lot of Ukrainians also. In North Cyprus now, we have quite a few Russians. I don't exactly know the numbers because some stay, some go, and then come back. So I don't know the exact number. But obviously, more than 10,000, maybe 50,000. And we have a lot of Ukrainians also. And we have some people from other countries, including the United Kingdom, and obviously from the Turkish Republic. So this North Cyprus is very up-and-coming developing place with all these new investments in our hotels, in our universities, in business activities. Therefore, we are welcoming everybody, so long as they have clean bank accounts, so long as they don't get involved in anything untoward, and nothing to do with black money or anything associated with that, because we are trying to manage this up to international standards.
So, Mr. President, now that reports on the revival of the Cyprus peace talks have once again surfaced, what's the Turkish side's position on that? Because do you think there is a suitable environment for a settlement and the revival of the peace talks?
Well, our position is that for the last more than 50 years, until I became a president, we have had a lot of futile discussions and negotiations, all basically based on federal republic. And with federalism, what's come out is that unfortunately our Greek Cypriots down in the south, especially after joining the European Union, they don't have the good faith that we will work on an equality basis in a federal structure. If we don't have equality, we will never accept it, because if we choose to accept the rule of the majority against the minority, if we get to that kind of relationship, that will be the end of us. And Turkey will have to move out, because Turkey is not a member of Europe.
Yes.
And with the European structure, if you are not a member of Europe, you cannot stay in a European country.
Sure.
And what is being done is basically to lock us into the European system, the north and the south, as if it were a unified island, which it cannot be, because we have an oath that we will never go back before 1974 days. Before 1974 days, we have gone through bitter times. We have lost a lot of our family members. We have gone through genocide. We have migrated more than a few times, and therefore it was a complete disaster for the Turkish Cypriots. We were nearly extincted, and because of the Turkish intervention in 1974, we were let off, and we have now our own state in our territory, living in peace, living in freedom, and all the things, good things associated with independence. Therefore, these are very valuable credentials, and we will never risk them. Therefore, our new policy is to be able to insist on sovereign equality and equal international status. This means if there is going to be a solution in Cyprus, it's got to be based on two sovereign states. If we don't have a solution on the basis of two sovereign states, that will not serve the Turkish Cypriots at all, because any other structure, especially the federal structure, will make that the majority rule the minority, and that will be the end of the Turkish Cypriots, because they are merciless. The whole mentality down in the south, unfortunately, until today, is that this island, according to them, is a pure Greek island. It's a Hellenic island, and it should, at the end of the day, be unified with Greece, which is their national policy, because they see with the islands in the Aegean, Rhodos, Crete, and Cyprus as part of Greece. This is their, as far as I evaluate, national aspiration. And this national aspiration has never gone away and still is there. So we have to be very careful. Therefore, I have been telling to the international community, including the United Nations, including the Europeans, including the Americans and the British, that the only way forward for the Turkish Cypriots is sovereign equality, so that we have a base to survive on the island if there is a solution, if there is ever going to be a solution. And obviously, as I keep telling all these people, I want the Turkish guarantee to continue. I will never accept a European guarantee in place of a Turkish guarantee, because Turkish guarantee, as far as I am concerned, is solid and something that I can trust. Whereas other guarantees, they just can be just worth not worth even the paper they are written on, because we have had a lot of experience in the past. In 1963, when they kicked us about, the United Nations were there at the time, and they just watched our genocide.
All right.
They just chose to watch our genocide.
All right, Mr. President, unfortunately, we are out of time. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.